want to track all that data you're getting, I mean, that's data, that is gold, that's a gold mine that you just did these last 6 months. So we gotta get that info because that's how this keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of recapping that, just super high level, the issue with Kelly not being able to put data in about who she's meeting at the school, we've overcome that, right?
Yeah, there's no reason for that.
There's no issue
That's,
for, do you agree with that?
You have to put in, if you stick in a minor, you have to put in parent stuff as well.
there's ways around it, Kelly.
Okay.
We can help you with that. That is not an issue, I promise you.
Well, I tell you what, I would put that as a top priority because this was an issue I thought. So if we can
Okay.
get that solved, we can get credit, the way I see it is, we can get credit for the good work that she's doing. And she's done with a group that we're trying to get the most benefit to. So
Yeah.
there's that. So we'll solve that issue. And the other issue with these packets and these waivers, that has to deal with Kelly's goals of change from a counselor to a LCPC. And we're straight on what needs to happen there as well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's done, and as far as my biggest concern with Kelly stuff is how do we get the information that of all the people she's helped already? Because right now it shows like 5 people and she's served closer to, 30 probably. And that's a good start. That's a really good start. That's huge. And so how do we get that information from her? So Kelly, that's gonna require you doing some digging.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to do that. I mean, I think if we could have Christy come up there and you could show her your binder and have her help disseminate it, maybe.
Oh, it's just my
Would that be
plan.
helpful?
Yeah, and and then maybe she could articulate to Kelly how you wanted her to report that data back to you, or if there's a form, or
We just don't want to miss that information. That's just vital. I mean, to show that she's served that many kids is huge.
right.
And then she's. I mean, we wanted to keep doing that moving forward, but there's absolutely no tech block that keeps you.
I thought it was more of a technical block, honestly. I thought it had to do with the simple practice not being able to enter the data, and they were working with Kelly to tell them how she might be able to work around it.
That's the tech, and there are always ways around tech.
All right, well, we don't have that yet, so that's why I'm saying, let's kind of circle that, and let's get that solved, so she can just do it, and then, yeah, you get my point. In other words, I think it's become a showstopper, and it really should be a non-showstopper.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Well, that's,
Because it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. There's absolutely no reason she can't enter that data at all, other than if she doesn't have it. I have people who can enter.
I don't want to create friction here, but I'm under the sincere impression that that software will not allow her to do that without giving confidential information.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, there are lots of ways to work around this. There's no reason she can't enter the data of all the people she's seen, other than if she doesn't have that information. That would be the showstopper.
Okay.
If she can't get that information, then we can't put it in. There are ways for us to get around. I mean, us putting information into simple practice has nothing to do with a parent signing something saying that we can put that in there. That's just a placeholder. It's no different than her putting it in a spreadsheet or her handwriting it down on a piece of paper and locking it in a filing cabinet. It's the exact same thing.
Is that your understanding, Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is.
I didn't hear Kelly. Kelly, is that your understanding?
Yeah.
So there's no reason you can't enter it. You understand that?
Yep.
Okay, and so do we have a role of back entering it, is what you're saying that we need?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I have little ninja technology, young ninja tech people Not saying that older people, I'm very tech savvy, so not saying older people can't be tech savvy too, but.
Well, and kind of the, one of the things that the purpose of this meeting is Kelly getting support and you getting what you need from Kelly. And,
100%.
what I'm hearing is you're really stressing the data. You need the data.
For
And-
you,
Yeah, well, I know,
for all
I'm,
of
you know,
you,
the
yeah.
whole point of this simple practice is, the whole point, you know, a lot of what Catalyst offers us, among other really positive benefits, is liability protection. And, so, you know, the data, but the data, I think, is useful in incredibly saying how good we are, how good this is helping the community. So if we have issues with getting the data, let's not let that go, okay? Until we're both
100%.
satisfied that we're on the same page with getting the data in there.
The data is critical. It's critical for you if you decide to keep this going, to say this is why we're keeping this going. And when people come in there, because they did to other commissioners in the beginning, and they give you guff and they say, why in the heck are you funding this program? You have a report and you just say this is why, and then they just turn around and they walk out of your office and you don't even have to talk.
Understood, and we agree that
It's to make
that's
your
important.
life easier. I really want to make, but it's also to help people. I mean, it's about protecting you from getting, you know, a bunch of people in there raising hell, and then it's also to give people support vital support that they need that is very difficult to get in places like Roundup, and then it's also giving Kelly the support she needs to do her job as good as possible, and then making sure everything is legal
Gotcha.
with Ben.
So I'm gonna kind
And
of shift,
these are all the boxes, so it's clinical, legal, and it's financial, so you're the financial piece, essentially, potentially. Ben's the legal, and then, you know, she's the clinical, and we're trying to help make sure all of you guys are doing this in the best way possible through data collection, that says, okay, I mean, primarily the financial piece for you guys, but also to say, for Ben to be like, yeah, I did check it, everything's fine. And for Kelly to say, no, I know exactly what I'm doing clinically, I've been well-trained and I have all the support I need.
okay. So I'm gonna shift gears a little bit because I think we can keep working on that and that'll get straightened out.
Cool, yeah.
You had mentioned that you may have some grant funding, potential. We're about, you know, we're going to another budget cycling and gonna budget all this stuff. And if we can get some potential grants or some potential monies that we might be able to get for grant funding, if you have any ideas on that, we would really appreciate it.
You got it. We can look into that. Maria, can you think of anything right offhand? Maria does a lot of our grant prospecting. Is there anything, I mean, we can look into this, but,
Well, we don't, might not solve it now, but we're.
well, no, I want to get her, I want you to know, she's a vital source of information, so let's see what
Excellent.
Maria knows. Let's see what Maria knows.
I know there are a few grants out there. I'll just have to look to see if they'll be for Muscle Show and see
So
how we can use them.
Sometimes, like, depending on your community, your size, the need, like, we might have to prove, you know, some stuff, like your YRBS results that I'd have to get from Josiah to say, hey, this is why you need to fund this program or help, these people need help. I will tell you this, there is a family foundation that recently, and I'm not gonna tell you where they're located, but they are in Montana, and they were, essentially, they have said that they would offer seed funding, like as a loan, so to speak. It would be a loan, not a grant, but if it were to help you get that community buy-in, and this is separate from the grant, we'll still look at the grant.
Okay.
But I do want you to know that, like, if you needed some loan money or something like that, they believe in this so much. And I've told them that the seed funding is the hardest part of getting that community buy-in, that they said, and then you know, it could take, you know, 5-10 years to repay it or something like that. I don't know, and then maybe they'll forgive it. Maybe it'll end up being a grant anyway. But they're so passionate about this that they have said that they would offer that to communities and county commissioners in particular that are interested in
Okay.
wanting to pursue this, but don't really know how or where to start or how to keep it going. They would call it a loan, but maybe it would turn into a grant. I need to be mindful in how I say that, but that's out there. And then Maria can look into some grants as well.
Excellent,
But
excellent.
yeah, grant prospecting for you guys, 100%. Has anybody seen Jody recently?
No. Have you seen Jody?
No, I haven't. She's been kind of scarce. She applied for a grant from the opioid, DeMote, Montana opioid.
Why are you laughing, Mike?
Huh?
Mike Turley, not
We're
you.
just talking, we're talking here.
Anyhow,
Well,
she
you
applied
can't
for a
talk and
grant
laugh
for
and not
that.
tell me what you're laughing about.
She applied for a grant through the opioid administration, but she didn't quite tie it to opioid. She had mental health, which is what we like, and I assume mental health and opioid addiction are very well combined, so.
We had to modify her
Yeah.
verbiage.
So we tabled it, but I think she's gonna modify that and reapply. I haven't seen it yet.
Maria, can you find out if, or Corey, you could too, since you're driving. Dan is on one of the opioid boards. He's one of our CHWs in
Yeah.
Seagrass. He was sheriff for 20 years.
There he is.
Is he on your board? Do you know in your region?
Yes. Well, he's a different
He is on your
region, but
board?
he's on the board, yeah.
For your region?
Yeah, not our region, no. No.
Dang
Dang.
it. See, that could be
He got 10 counties, but Wheatland isn't one of them.
Okay, here's my other question. Would they qualify, Maria, for that money? Are you guys ever tied to Lewistown?
Yeah, they're on our board.
Okay.
Fergus is on
Maria,
our board.
let's look at that money there's money that was given to another county. It wasn't a lot. It would probably pay for like co-pays and stuff like that, but it might take us like braiding funding. And then, do you guys have a public health nurse?
Nope.
No, we do not. We have a public health, in Lewistown, we have a coalition of 5 counties.
Yeah.
That's our public
Yeah,
health.
okay, you're part of that coalition then.
Yeah.
And so
Through One
your
Health.
public health department is through
Central Montana
Lewistown.
Health Board, yeah. But we don't
Okay,
actually have
okay.
one in the county, no. But they come to our
Okay.
county when we need them.
Yeah, okay.
We needed a law.
Let us do some thinking and get back to you on that,
Sure.
but yeah, 100% would love to help you. How's the budgeting going, and I mean, are you guys able, we started this, what, in October?
Could have been.
Okay, so you have the first half of the next year kind of paid for, right? Kind
Yeah, it depends on when you started, and you're saying what Jody paid Catalyst, we've got, I haven't really parsed it out, but kind of in my mind, what I'm seeing is next year it's on our dime, and whatever we can get through grants will help us with that.
of? You betcha. Well, no, yeah, and we'll get all over it with grants, and then, just keep in mind that happened because of Jody's timeline. Your timeline would be from October, if you could fund October to June.
Okay,
So
that
let's get-
helps,
let's get-
you know.
Yeah, let's get on your fiscal year and see if you can fund October to June
Okay,
so that you're in sync with all the other counties.
so you're saying
Kinda how we
Jody's
do it.
good till this October, this
Yeah.
coming up October, and then we gotta take it from there for next year, but then the next year would be a full.
That would take you to June, and that will end up giving you a year and a half.
Yeah.
And if we do this right, I mean, that might be all you need to say, okay, yeah. And then I also don't know if you've talked to other commissioners and how they move money around. They use like alcohol rehab money, and they use some mental health funds that they give to the mental health department. But they can move some of it, they can finagle some of that somehow.
We've been talking about that.
Yep, that's
Yeah, so
part of the
if
strategy.
you wanna talk, the one you wanna talk to is Bill Wallace out of Sweetgrass, or Jeff Sell out of Wheatland.
Uh-huh.
those will be your two commissioners that know how to kind of finagle that money. Sweetgrass has been real good at it, but they have a little more, you know, they mine, even though they got hit recently, but, they have a way of finagling money, and then there's like the wind generator money, in Wheatland, I think, that they use, and then they've got, what's the Bear Museum, stuff like that, anything you can think of like that. I don't know what you have, any coal mining money, I think. I don't know if that's the thing you get, that you have control over.
Not a lot.
We'll have to think about it, we'll get into that.
We have
But the
options.
bottom line though is whatever we do, however we get money, I guess what I'm telling you, I'm not telling you we won't be able to work it out, we'll be able to find the money.
We'll help you, we'll look for grants, you want us looking for
But the
grants?
grants is the biggest thing to offset what we invest in.
We can find
Gotcha.
it, we just don't wanna use it.
Yeah,
I
grants,
gotcha,
yeah.
grants are ideal.
As a matter
We
of
feel
fact,
the
that's
same
our,
way.
that's our mantra all through everything we do.
Everything.
We can
Yeah.
find the
Same
money, we
here.
just don't wanna use it.
Grants all day long if we can.
All right,
Well, that's what we got Maria on that now. I do think there is like almost a guaranteed 5,000, isn't there, Maria, that they could qualify? No? Not this year, maybe next year from this, no, okay. See, she knows these
so
things.
Maria, we're
Um,
gonna put a target goal that you get us $100,000. Help us find $100,000.
That was the most important thing said today during this conversation.
So you're challenged.
Other than Kelly's doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm really encouraged, but actually what got exchanged here today, because I think we gotta move on, but is exactly the intent of this meeting, is we're addressing issues on both sides, so, okay?
Thanks, you guys. Good to see
Thank
you all.
you.
Kelly, keep up the good work.
Thanks.
All right, appreciate it,
Glad to
everyone.
hear from you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you all for everything. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right,
That's what I was just thinking.
what's that?
Don't laugh, Mike, you'll get us in trouble.
What's that?
That was painful.
I know, but see, I'm still sensing there's an issue with this data.
I think so too, because
Yeah.
you cannot put it in without
She's
upstairs permission.
implying that it's just you don't have it, and that's why you're not putting it in. You have the data,
I have a whole planner of who I
but they've
saw.
told you, so if that doesn't, let's
What
get
was the workaround that she wants you to do? It sounded like she was basically saying that there was a workaround to the system. But what does that look like?
I don't know.
you know what, I would try and have her show you, because whoever she's got.
I would
to
try
tell
and
you
have
this-
somebody she works with show you.
Well,
If she
I-
shows you,
I,
I don't know that any of us are gonna live that long.
Yeah,
I
the
agree.
problem is. You know what, I gotta kind of defend her a little bit, because she's trying to make sure that we're happy, she's really concerned.
I know.
no, I get that.
So she's trying to make her points, and I don't blame her
But
for
she
that.
over and over again.
But the problem I got is whoever she puts you in contact to tell you how to do it, just has you in limbo.
Yeah, well,
And she
I
said-
had a meeting with Christy and Olivia about all of this, and they were like, well, maybe the commissioners or you guys could come up with a way to track it. 'Cause
See,
we
so
can't-
that's what I'm saying, get Amber to say, okay, Amber, these people talk to such and such, they're telling me I can't do it, and I need to track it on a spreadsheet. You tell me what workaround you know about.
Yeah, that's what she needed to know.
But the data's important because it's it's just important to prove the success of the.
I mean, yeah, well, you could always put it on a spreadsheet and have whoever the individual you're meeting with's names.
Easy to do.
And you keep that for your records, but when you provide data to the commission, you simply excise their name from that column.
Yeah,
And,
But really, it's the data for their simple practice,
Yeah.
because that generates all their graphs and everything. So look, one thing you could do is say, look, if you're not gonna tell me how I can do it in your system, here's my spreadsheet, you guys deal with it.
Here, there you go.
that works
Send
too.
them the spreadsheet.
I just, the only problem is like I could put in who I saw that week, but I can't tell you what we talked about that week.
no.
Cause, I mean, if
That's
we
fine.
have sheets that Alicia has, but is that, wouldn't that be confidential?
That's HIPAA.
crossing the lines.
That's HIPAA
Yeah.
protected.
Well, unless you, but I think what they're saying is you can make a generic appointment
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you won't give the confirmation, but you can give met with, you know, like initials or something, or age such and such or whatever, and whatever kind of information they need and discussed in general terms. And that way now you've got, this was, you know, you've got data points that you would use anyway, categorization type things. That's what I thought they were gonna help you with.
Yeah. I did try to call Becky twice with Millstone.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
She didn't answer?
Mm-mm. But I left 2 messages, so
Okay.
maybe she's gone, I don't know. But, okay, that was fun.
All right, and just keep in mind that, you know, the whole point of this meeting is that your issues and their issues, and so if you don't agree with something, this is the time to say it. And I know, don't wanna create conflict, but if you're saying, hey, I don't agree with that, or what, this is the forum to do it in.
Yesterday was a time sensitive thing. Because there was a whole, I mean, Ben knows about it.
She did a very good job dealing with that situation.
I text Amber, I copy and pasted, text Christy, cause I was like, whoever's gonna answer my question the fastest, that's what I need. Cause this is, and then they didn't answer, so I called, what's his face, Dan, over Migtimer, cause really it was kind of more of a cop question. But then I got an ass chewing for going to other people from Amber. So I was like, so all night last night I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Haven't you seen the movie Inglourious Bastards?
I need to watch it.
What?
That's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
At the end of it, one of the guys screaming out, "You'll be shot for this." No, just get chewed out. I've been chewed out before.
You know what, it's better to ask, but that's a real problem. And that's the problem, that if it's like Amber, you say you wanna be the point of contact, but you're not responding. And, you know, what we used to have to do, and I hate to ask you this, but we used to have to create what we call a Pearl Harbor file. It's like, okay, just a little quick note, I did this date, and this, and then after you get so many of them, it's like, you know, you say you're there to respond, but you're not.
Yeah.
And that's why I brought up this data entry issue, because she's really stressing the data, but they're not solving this problem for you. And they're acting like the reason you're not doing it is because you don't have the data. You have the data, and you are meeting with the people, and you are actually forwarding, probably much more than they're aware of, how you're bringing your program forward. So, we'll get there, but yeah, I've had to do that before, but it's we call it a Pearl Harbor file, but it's like, right there's an example, you know, you just contact me and I'll get you, you know, well, we had serious situation that I couldn't get help on. To me, if I were Amber and I knew that, I would realize we're not doing our job. We had somebody out in the field with super serious information, they've texted us for help and we haven't responded.
Right.
Why haven't we responded?
I like that idea.
CYA.
Okay. Excellent,
Thanks.
keep moving forward.
Thanks for coming in.
and I don't know if we're expecting Ron, I'll find out.
Well, I never did see him go by the window.
You seen him come in.
He never called me.
Well, when he comes in, he sees his door shut, he just turns it on.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I didn't see him out there.
I think I might just leave it a call.
Oh, excuse me.
He's like about number 3 on the list.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
got back from North Dakota.
Wow, they let you out?
I went to Medora
Really?
for
Ron.
Sunday, my last Southeast
What are you
Montana.
up to?
Really? Last one?
Got to see where they're building the new Teddy Roosevelt Roosevelt Residential Library.
Do you wanna pick a different?
Alright,
Hey,
that'll
just
work.
let me know.
That'll
That's gonna
work,
be something.
cause that's exactly what I was gonna ask you, you would.
So I'm trying to.
Okay,
Yep, up,
Alrighty.
they have the musical,
See you
they have
then.
the
I'm
musical.
gonna be trying to put
Up on
all
that
of
hill,
the documents
kind of
together
blended
for
into the
the
hill.
worksheet.
Oh my word. It's just gonna be glorious.
So if I get
It's
that
what?
done by Wednesday,
It's
then maybe
gonna be
maybe Friday
glorious. The
would
Teddy
be.
Roosevelt
That was
Residential Library, they're building
oh, they're building
And I
another
can
one?
make spontaneous, as long as I don't have like a deadline.
up on the hill,
I could just
they
like,
have the musical.
go and walk in, you could just go.
They hope to have it done by July
Okay, you know,
4th next
okay,
year.
Or we can put something on the calendar.
Yeah,
whatever.
because sometimes it just comes up and I'm
Wow.
working with Bob on earlier
It's
this week, so we're just trying to get it all done. On Tuesday, I know for sure I've got
So we went to
something in the
the,
afternoon, but
they have like a little information.
I'm hoping next Friday will be.
What the guy will tell you, and they have like 3D, I made a card
It is a busy time.
showing
And I know,
scale.
but it's anybody I work with, when it's year ending, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's don't have anything to my plate, we
I
don't
know,
have.
and then sometimes it's like, well, after June 30th, and I'm like, oh, it just keeps on going in July.
Dora is a place, that- it really is
It
a,
is, it goes over
it's a
so
place to
much,
go
but
in with one.
we'll see, this is my first time in the
It's
county year end, so.
It's a very good place.
It reminds me a lot of Gardner.
I feel like I can breathe in the school until September 1st. I was like,
My daughter worked there 2 summers when she was in college.
October, November, we're like a breeze.
Yeah.
Well,
But no, well, yeah, and I'm around, and
Courthouse.
even if, yeah, we'll,
Almost looks
even if it's
brand
just like,
new.
we pop in.
Very nice.
and most of our, hey,
It's a neat
and most of
town.
our stuff can be done electronically.
It's a very neat
I
place.
just would like, right now, for us just to meet in person and go, this is my form, I know this is what
In
y'all
my
do.
hotel
Yeah.
room,
And then
No, that'd
you,
be great.
no clock, no phone, and it's like that now in all
I mean-
hotel rooms.
Howdy.
If you want to call the front desk, use your phone to scan this QR code, and I've had a little problem with that. Dying that.
are you trying to talk yourself into that?
Yeah.
There's no phone, what do you have a problem?
It's, wasn't this something important?
It was about you, so.
So, Mike, I'm sorry I got you in trouble.
No, not at all.
What were you laughing
Oh, I'll show you later.
Yeah.
at? I thought you were laughing as we're talking about.
Yeah, it was a little bit of both.
No, you, the problem is that you've got a county attorney with a divine sense of humor and
He's funny.
timing.
Problem. It was the timing.
It was, it was the timing.
Okay, okay.
And, you know, I mean, if you'd like, I can select each one of you in turn and do that to you to see if I can make you laugh during some kind of a very serious moment in a meeting. It just happened to be.
But I like how
that
Mike handled it. We're just talking here.
But Mike was my target today.
Well, it looked like it worked.
It did. But only because we were both thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but I do see why she's trying to,
Frustrating.
she's trying to make sure. So there's two sides to every story, but we'll just keep, I think overall, everything's going, a lot of progress has been made. Especially if you have two serious cases that she was able to help with.
No, she was able to help with a very serious concern yesterday, and she called me up and said, well, can we do this? And I said, well, legally, we're not there yet. And so I walked her through some ideas for what she could do. And I just talked with her today about, okay, because this is the kind of case, it's going to come up again with this particular person. Okay, like, I mean, as sure as anything, it is going to come up again. I mean, I can predict it with,